Well, welcome, Brandon. Thank you for hanging out with me on just a quick kind of casual Zoom conversation. You've been a friend and customer of Disrupt for, I think, going on close to 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years
Pretty
now.
close. Yeah.
And it's been awesome because you kind of like you're in a smaller town, independently owned funeral home. Your situation looks like 80% of the profession. And so I just wanted to have you on to chat a little bit about social, the value of it, success you've had with social media. So just give us a little snippet about your story and how you became the owner of your funeral home.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. Appreciate your time. It's always good to talk to the man at the top, which is what's nice about Disrupt. You're always just a quick phone call away, or a Zoom meeting or whatever it is in these weird times. So that's first and foremost, we appreciate that. We actually bought a funeral home here in my hometown that when I was a kid was thriving. Gone through a couple changes of ownership. The owners made some mistakes financially. Things just weren't great, and it was just really beat up and run down. I was working for the competitor across town. They were bought by a corporation, and it just wasn't for me. I couldn't do it anymore. Prices went up, demands on my time went up. And so we bought this funeral home that was doing about 16 funerals a year, probably barely enough to keep the lights on. We had a vision with that, and we wanted to do what the family that originally owned our funeral home did. They were part of the community. They were always involved. They shopped locally first. And, in this day and age, the way to do that is to have a presence in the community, is to be present in front of everybody. Everybody has a Facebook page. So by taking that means of, I guess you could say, that style of what used to be, the shaking hands and kissing babies kind of thing, as the politicians would say, and taking that virtual was a huge step in the right direction. Our first 8 months of being here in the business and being in the community and present, we tried a bunch of different ways. We tried newspaper ads, which were expensive and not direct. We tried a television ad, which was great. I mean, it's nice to get people on board, but they didn't know who we were. When we engage with everybody now through our Facebook page, they see my family, they see our staff, they see our dog that comes to work with us every day, Boz, who you guys have featured, who's employee of the week every week. So he's got a whole picture on the wall of that because he's the only one that's featured a lot of times in that deal. But just the little things, our promotion, our gatherings, what we do for our community is all front and center. It's more about building that relationship with those families than it is the funeral aspect of things. Those things have come. Our first 8 months, we took on 35 families compared to the 16 the year prior from the former owners. 52 families the first full year. And I thought, wow, this is great. This is huge. Had a huge jump in growth, though, after that first year after we joined with Disrupt. And I can kind of relate that directly to internet marketing. People knowing us, getting the community. I have people come up to me all the time, hey, I saw you on Facebook, or, we saw your dog, or your daughter is all these things that we just feature. And, the content-driven stuff that you guys help us with and just gives us a great way to get it and be involved in part of that. So
I appreciate that.
52 families. Last year was 79. This year, at the same point in time that we're talking today, we were at 57. We're at 85 families that we've served now. So we've seen infinite growth by just doing. This is the only marketing that we do. There's no. Our fund is, we do calendars or something on the menu down the road, just some local business stuff. But I know that doesn't drive people to us and get them to know who we are. You're more than just a print ad. You are part of the community. Yeah, you're a human now. You're a guy in the community. So
that's it. I love it. And I mean, that's fantastic because that's really what we're shooting for as a team, is helping you build those relationships at scale that used to happen through service organizations and things of that nature. And, I mean, as a new funeral home, you can't negate physically being a part of the community.
Right.
Social can help amplify that so much, and you're a testament to that. So I want to ask you specifically about one story that you shared with us about a removal that you went on personally in the middle of the night, and the connection was there because of what happened on social. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so we had just started with our campaign, and my wife and I were talking about our budget and all of those things, and we were just a few, maybe really weeks into being present on social media, but we had a lot of followers. We had started gaining followers here and there, and my cousin had shared one of our posts, and when the time came, there was an older gentleman, didn't have a funeral home in mind, and my cousin shared our page with them and said, hey, this guy's really about the community. This is what's kind of going on. And so she went back and looked through some of our posts and some of the live videos that I had done to get to know the community and introducing our staff. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, I show up and we knock on the door. Hey, I'm Brandon from Cruz Family Funeral Home. Sorry to hear about your loved one. We're here to bring them into our care. And she's like, oh my gosh, it's you. And I'm like, it's me, yes. So it was that first moment of recognition where somebody had connected our family or our faces with an actual place of, an establishment. And we were really on the other side of town. It wasn't even in if you drop a pin, it wasn't really in our radius of our normal service area. So we had the opportunity not only to, look into finding new means to meet and talk with the families, but we also found a new way to, expand outside of our small community. We were 20 minutes away, 25 minutes away from where we normally would have dropped a pin at the funeral home and said, well, we're lucky to get into that radius. So we were able to be a part of that. And of course, just like anything else, it snowballs. When you do something and they tell a friend and they tell a friend and they tell a friend, it just doubles and triples and quadruples. So it's infinite, the number of people that she's talked about to us. And we've kind of served that area again, through that neighborhood, through that area, through people she's known. And they've said, well, so-and-so sent us to you because you did a good job with mom and dad. And they were really surprised that you were the one that showed up in the middle of the night. It's personal service. It's not, a couple of guys with a cot. So
Yeah.
I left there with a smile. Unfortunately, in that situation, not because of somebody's passing, but just that, wow, this works. That was light bulb moment. It was.
I love it. I love it. And that's it's a testament not only to, the organicness of social media and that engagement, but also just doing the work and going through the process. Like social isn't always an immediate payoff. Like it's an infinite game. And you and I have talked about the things that happen today, engagement that happens today. That lady had engaged with your content long before she needed your services.
Exactly.
That established the relationship. And that's really, that deep value of social. It's relationship marketing, and this is a relationship business. And the last kind of point that I'll make, and you and I have had this discussion, that, traditional marketing isn't completely dead. Like there's some value in just the sheer brand awareness of it. But what can't happen with a billboard or a television ad or a newspaper that can happen with social media content is action. And that action, by someone clicking a like button, commenting, sharing a post, is influencing other people that you have no idea the value that influence is going to bring long term. So look, I appreciate you as a friend. I appreciate you as a client or member of Disrupt Media and trusting our team. You and I don't get to connect a lot, but I always enjoy it when we do. This year has been a huge bummer because I usually get to see you at least once a year at ICCFA or NFDA, one of them. And that hasn't been possible this year, but we'll get through it. And
hey, we're all adapting. You're right.
That's right.
It's all about overcoming.
Brandon, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. You're doing the work and you're following the process and the roadmap, and that's so key in success. So congratulations on the growth of your funeral home. That's really, social can play a part in it, but it's a testament of you doing the right things.
Thank you.
Winners win. That's all I gotta say. Winners win, losers lose. And when you do the right things, you win. So kudos to you and your team.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right, take care.
Always good to talk to you.